first rotate.
Yeah, but if they first rotate, they may actually lose out on the jungle pick that they want. Say they ban a random ban here, and Splyce ban out Lee Sin or Elise, then you get up in the situation, what are we trading here? Syndra or our preferential pick for KaKAO?
Have to respect who's the bigger element here in the team. Is it PowerOfEvil on the Syndra?
Yeah, so Lee Sin, now it's Elise versus Syndra, right? And now we get exactly in that situation. What do you do if you're Misfits? You go for Nocturne.
He covers it every time.
I know.
Gets our hopes up.
I think that the...
This has to be Syndra Elise then.
Yeah, surely. There's no way you wouldn't go for Syndra Elise. Because Misfits are looking again at the Rengar, right? That's... If they lock in the Elise, then you have the Rengar better scaling. Like, you know you're going to have the stronger team fighting later on. But Trashy has demonstrated in the second half, when we saw that ramp up for Splyce, Elise has become one of his power picks. It's something that he is very comfortable on. And it's another early game powerhouse. And what we've seen from the series so far is that Splyce seemed to play the early game pretty well.
All right, Misfits, are they going to go maybe Ashe Zyra again?
But then you're just going to lose your Rengar, right? Then your jungle pool gets pinched even further.
Yeah, but maybe he realizes... Rengar? Ooh,
okay.
Match here. Okay.
All right. PowerOfEvil rising to the challenge here. Thinks he can outplay the Syndra in the mid lane, despite some previously lackluster laning phases. And once again, back to the Rengar on the side of KaKAO.
Ooh, 3 picks that scream, pick potential rather, which is hard to play. This takes us back to game 1, where Splyce were kind of just playing like the team fight map control game, and Misfits, they had a lot more side lane pick attempts. Obviously, LeBlanc could do okay in team fights, but definitely not as strong as the Syndra in last game.
Potentially adaptation coming in. Most likely going to be the AD Kennen from what we've seen from the series so far, but can, of course, still be pivoted up to the top side of the map for the Ninja Showdown.
Instant ban on Thresh.
I mean, respect, take it away, right? That was kind of the big playmaking element, while Hansama with that beautiful scoreline may have looked like the biggest factor. IgNar starting so many fights, building that lead pretty much single-handedly.
If I was Misfits here, I would actually get rid of the Gragas. I think Wunder played incredibly good frontline Gragas, and if it weren't for the Thresh always being so annoying, he would have done even a lot more work right there, especially in terms of like peeling. And now that there's no like frontline mage like the Syndra, I'd rather see that removed. The Nautilus is not the Nautilus top lane has been bad out, it's the support.
Yeah.
They don't want to play against Kalista Nautilus.
They literally just want to take all hook champions off of IgNar. His now only option is Blitzcrank, which is highly unlikely. But I actually think the possibility of a Tahm Kench rises in value pretty significantly right now, especially with Braum off the table. Looking at the possibility of Karma being a big pick. I think Splyce, I feel like that they're just going to stick with the other range support and Fiddlesticks. We did see it earlier on in the day, game 1.
It's actually quite strong against Tahm Kench in lane because he can never devour instantly.
Right.
You need to devour as the bird is flying. Otherwise, you get silence, and then it's 2 seconds. That's enough to burst.
Just thinking of other possible supports like Nami as well. Lulu is still available too. A champion that has recently been really high in value, but has not actually had much priority in this series.
Would be a good pick here as well. Just having the opportunity to pull in more of Fiddlesticks, a Syndra even in fights, having extra burst resistance. But it does make you play with, I guess, usually 2 damage deals, but with the Rengar it even amplifies his damage even more. I think it would definitely be great for IgNar to play, but it doesn't seem like an IgNar champion to me.
Well,
we'll find out.
We are going to find out as it is locked in. So the Lulu picked up here.
But look at it, like 5 supports have been banned out. 6 if you believe Camille as a support. And then 1 has been taken away if you believe Fiddlesticks is a support. A lot of conditions here, but number 8, IgNar.
Depends on what you believe,
yeah.
folks. Depends on your solo queue experience, how you feel about these picks. But you mentioned kind of the lack of damage presence on this team. It feels like Misfits really want to find a lead.
I think with Rengar, like as a caveat, that there is still enough damage in the team fights. And they can definitely enable Hansama.
I think this bottom lane matchup is actually quite an interesting one, because you have 2 fairly short range champions in the form of Kennen and Fiddle. That could be pretty difficult to trade into a Lulu and a Varus during the early laning stages, but it's evident that Splyce are going very heavy in terms of early game with the Renekton lock-in.
Yeah, but I still remember the first time I ever laned against the Fiddlestick supports, and it really teaches you to throw away some of the conventions that you've learned in terms of like distancing to your AD carry positioning in lane, because it's such an odd pick, especially with the bounces from the cross storm. You're so used to playing like a moderate distance behind your range creeps. If you do that versus a Fiddle and you're near your AD carry, he's just going to take the opportunity to give you a quarter bounce and instantly win lane. So your spacing is way different, especially if you're a Lulu, always looking to enhance your Varus with a shield, for example. And so many people are not used to playing in silences for one, and annoying poke supports for two.
Oh, a lot of pressure on both these squads, both these lineups. And Splyce once again committing to all in on the early game.
Go handshake.
Back on stage briefly.
So looks like that just a few rune issues, which will be very quickly rectified. But yeah, this gives us a great opportunity to talk about these compositions, because early game seems to be the name of the game for Splyce. The Renekton top lane, I think, as exciting as it is into a Shen, I expect not very much is going to happen there, but you're also seeing the possibility for a dive with the Elise and the Renekton as well in the top half of the map.
Yeah.
And for Misfits, they're playing a little bit more scaling, more on the pick-oriented side. You have a lot of roaming power with the LeBlanc combined with the Rengar as well. So maybe we see one of those early bot lane plays, especially when you have a Shen level 6 spike too.
Keep in mind here, folks, the delay is stemming from the fact that players are remaking the lobby, running through picks and bans. Things will be exactly the same, essentially just translate to a small delay until we make it into game here.
Yeah, which gives us more time to talk about these comps, and I definitely echo that. If you look at Renekton Elise throughout history, that has been a dive at level 4 combo, a dive a little later. If you look at Renekton, it's a champion that can push his lane and disappear. Like Hanser does these plays all the time in LCS, where he'll push up his lane and just go for a mid-pressure roam. Even if they know he's coming, it's so annoying to play against. That could give you the pressure on mid all of a sudden, and then that Syndra could disappear and actually influence bottom lane. That is the way you can actually cascade pressure around the map.
We'll see how it works out, because PowerOfEvil, I feel like for the first time in this series, does have his hands on a roaming champion, a true champion that can move out of that lane, maybe look to start picks going, and that is something that we praised him for in the past. But on the other side, Splyce are all about that early game, and it feels like it's going to be rough for him to find the time.
It also gives Misfits Academy the alternative of a 1-3-1 win condition as well. So even if they do fall behind a little bit later on into the game, they do have a really strong scaling factor where Shen will transition nicely into the late game once he's gotten a few items under his belt. Yep. And LeBlanc will be much better off into a side lane compared to Syndra. So as long as Misfits don't fall into a massive deficit during the first 20 to 25 minutes, there's always that possibility to use that more control on all 3 lanes. Yeah,
the benefit there of having the Kennen, though, is that you can put him in the side lane.
That's very true, yes.
So it's a bit of a solution to that problem. Syndra definitely doesn't like playing on side lanes. If anything, she'll push us until the river point. Early game will decide the series, just as the last few games. It'll be very, very important, and I think Splyce actually have the upper hand. Their comp is much easier to play, and on the game 4, that actually matters quite a bit. Every single member of the Splyce lineup is bringing at least one instance of crowd control to the table.
Really terrifying to play against too, especially the Elise.
Because it's not a fear.
It's not fear, it's a terrify. All right, well, thank you. Well, and you can look at it, I mean, Elise, Renekton, the quintessential dive duo, now paired an additional Fiddlesticks, a Kennen. Syndra maybe not as big of a part of the dives, but those are 4 members that you have to be careful about. You have to respect, because you think maybe Elise is going to go topside. Feels like also an option to go bottom side with the sheer amount of CC present.
Need to see how quick PowerOfEvil can be on the trigger. I think it's double tap R to get your clone right in front of you, because then you can block skill shots. Obviously, it doesn't work against Syndra. That stuff just flies through you, but you can definitely block a good cocoon there.
The best one I ever saw, which I didn't even realize happened in the play, was GBM using his ulti to bait out the Camille ulti. So he actually hit the actual LeBlanc out, and the clone ended up getting stuck in the ulti. It was very impressive, and it has some creative uses. The worst one is when a random LeBlanc shows up bot for a dive, and you think, oh no, I have to flash, and it's just a clone.
The worst is even when it's a real LeBlanc and you think it's a clone, and then you die when you have flash up.
Turns out flash doesn't help you against LeBlanc when she's behind your turret. But then the mistake is in the first place, why weren't you watching your minimap?
Because the minimap just slows me down, Krepo. Yeah. I could be killing my opponent in the time it takes me to look at my minimap.
You could, indeed. Yeah, guys, we're halfway through the remake process right now. Champions are being locked in again, so we'll get that on the road swiftly.
Yeah, just as an update on the issue, League officials have confirmed that IgNar experienced a bug with his rune page and that the game is being remade, as Krepo said. Same picks and bans, getting in there shortly.
Need runes. Very important. They can mean the difference.
A couple thousand worth of gold. I mean, you don't have to start with all that extra.
Yes, Mr. AD Syndra. I do remember that game.
We played a scrim for our internal competition. I ended up playing AD Syndra. Not as powerful as AP Syndra.
Not as strong.
Still strong enough to roam bot and get a double kill, even though they were feeding the lane.
It was true.
Did you use your skill button, Krepo?
I definitely outskilled them. Oh. It's actually a really fun combo you can do with Syndra, where you delay the QE combo.
I thought you were just going to say press R. I was like,
yeah,
sick combo, Krepo.
Also a very fun combo. But you can E and then Q, and then it'll launch out the orb the delayed way. And you can actually send out 2 orbs in succession that way.
All right, I like it.
It's really cheesy and annoying, but yes, you can do it.
You can also train it in the practice mode and fail it like half the time and find out you are very old and no longer have mechanics, or never had.
All right, so we're talking about you and me at the same time.
Yeah.
That's great.
Inclusion, very important.
I'm glad. Included me in the no mechanics category. Well, looking at it, of course, teams, comps now locked in, just the last 20 or so seconds, counting down before the game starts to load up and before we get in.
Yeah, we can clap for that. 19 seconds now. 18. Actually, hold
on, we're counting.
We're counting.
We'll tell you when to clap. We'll tell you when to clap, audience. Don't worry. We're getting closer.
I'm sure some voting happens around now, Drakos.
Yeah, actually, this is a great opportunity to talk about that,
May
audience.
we remind you.
Twitter.
Hashtags.
It's a bird. At LOL eSports. Hashtag MSF win or hashtag SPY win. With a, I must say, perfectly timed graphic. Good job, team.
We're also really tired of talking about nonsense. We also want to get into the game. We definitely feel your pain here, audience, but it's definitely getting closer as we speak. I see the loading screen emerge on my PC here.
But let's, gentlemen, remember what's on the line here. Both these teams are fighting for a spot at Hamburg. Even if they only make it to the semifinals, even if they lose their semifinals, they will still get a spot in the beautiful city. And they will get to play on that magnificent stage.
Here it is. Both compositions ready, locked in. Both teams in game, waiting briefly as the base gates hold them back. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. Series points still up for Splyce. Can Misfits continue the reverse sweep? Can they bring it back here? We will find out.
After this break. See you guys.
Tune in next time. Anyway, early itemization, I think that it's interesting that we see Hansama going for the longsword into 3 health pots, going for more of a sustain lane, expecting things to be a little bit rough, especially when paired up against the Lulu.
I mean, that has been the staple. That's just like I think people used to want to do that, and then Borg became like ultra meta game, and you're like, I like it, I'll take it. But you definitely need to sustain against the fiddle poke.
Yeah, a lot of early harassment can come out there. IgNar opting to start with the help picks, not quite as aggressive as the Glitterland start. Make it easier to mitigate some of that damage, and now we keep our eyes on where these junglers are going to start. Renekton, we've seen it. Perfect start for the Raptors.
Oh, he's actually going Cull on the Renekton as well. That's cool. Knows he will have the natural lane dominance as well, so going for more of a scaling itemization rather than the...
It's literally in his queue, you know?
Yeah.
It's built in.
It's,
you can call the meek, you can call the item. What can't you call?
He wants to call the weak players as well in Alphari.
Ooh. The weak players. All right, Mitch.
Only because it rhymes.
Okay, there you go.
We have, sadly, guys, I have the tough news.
All right.
We have a brief, ever so brief, tiny pause.
And it's Misfits pause.
It's Misfits this time, so
not
things
Splyce.
are changing.
The evolution of the series.
We'll get note of what it is, but it takes us back to the champ select. Favorite champions, guys?
All right. Favorite champions?
Katarina.
Of these ones in the game.
Calm down, Vedius. That's not every opportunity to
When it's on your turn.
I'm personally excited about the Renekton with Cole. Normally I consider Cole exclusively like an AD Kennen top lane thing, but I find it really interesting that he's like, yeah, I'm going to get to 100 CS before this item is relevant, but I feel like it's the right choice.
Yeah, as a champion that wants to dive on level 3 or 4, having a benchmark at 100 CS seems in tune with what you want.
Eventually. I feel like he wants some more impactful items in the early game, and this will, I guess, help him out in the mid game.
It's insurance, maybe? It's like, if I fail, at least I will stack my call.
Yeah, but I don't think you can afford to fail.
Does Renekton fail versus the Shen? I don't know if that's really a thing that can
If he doesn't
happen.
win? If he doesn't win, he's failing.
that's
that's
failing.
very
Yes.
true.
If this guy doesn't die under his turret, level 4, then you're already failing. If he then pops off and goes bot and gets a double kill, and you're just kind of Hitting creeps.
Still farming your coal.
Yeah.
See, I like that you could have just said failing, but that you took the time to explain to Vedius exactly what failure would look like in gross detail.
It's worth the viewers understanding, you know, like you need to meet this list of criteria of failure.
How about you, Vedi? What are you excited for?
What am I excited for? LeBlanc.
LeBlanc.
Even after the nerfs, I like the fact that she's still being played. A lot of the mid laners that I spoke to said that she was pretty much dead.
Yeah.
No longer will she be played. And then first week back, oh, hey, look, LeBlanc is picked.
That's why you never, no, not never, but you take it with a pinch of salt when you talk to pro players. Because it's like, yeah, we nerfed this champion. We took 1 damage off his spell. Not playable.
I mean, the LeBlanc nerfs were much bigger than that. But you got to understand, I mean, from their perspective, you got to think, hey, I went from 2-shotting people and now it takes 3 shots. Like, that's a huge difference.
It's like, how can Riot do this to me? What's the balance department doing?
All right, folks, we are back into game. It is game 4. Once again, 2-1 in the favor of Splyce. Stakes are high as we move into the laning phase. And Mikyx already taking a bit of harass here.
That's obviously a great start here. Immediately attacking the first 2 creeps. They're on 50% already, so Misfits already opting in very much so to get the lane push. Super important. Mikyx eating a lot of damage here. Good lane control from Misfits early.
Meanwhile, keeping an eye on the jungle pathing as well.
Ooh, that's just beautiful.
It was.
Screw the jungle pathing. Let's just watch his Lulu. Yeah, watch him. Yeah, that's right. Hit him with the picks.
See, this is help Pix, but man, Pix is violent. Pix is merciless. And so is Trashy.
But I want to talk about jungle pathing.
Oh, dude, really? You want to talk about the jungle pathing?
Go, Vedius. It's your time to shine.
So Trashy, he decided to go Raptors into red. He skipped the Scuttle Crab, immediately stole away the enemy blue buff. And this time, KaKAO actually decided to do a full clear of his bottom side, even with his bottom lane having the push.
Yeah, KaKAO should just go into enemy jungle.
Yeah, it could have been a free steal of the blue buff. Decided not to do it. So, because now you're actually setting up good control for Trashy to later consider going for that level 4 dart.
Gentlemen, we see this every single game. KaKAO on Rengar conceding so much in the early levels, and I feel like he would have adapted by now, but it's the same thing. Trashy consistently stealing away at least 1 buff.
Trashy's gonna wait for him, or? Oh, he's out of mana right now. KaKAO is actually gonna win this duel. That's the hilarious part.
Okay, Trashy.
He can repel to the Vascon.
Debating.
Yep.
Whoop. Oh. Safety, flash out. All right.
He's fine. He's fine. But that's
curious pathing from KaKAO, because bear in mind, there's also a ward on top of the blue buff for Splyce. So KaKAO's logic is that, yeah, there's a ward right there. After Misfits pushed
that's a Misfits ward.
Sorry, my apologies. Misfits pushed up bottom lane, they moved into the enemy jungle, they dropped the ward onto blue, and then KaKAO must have thought, ooh, hang on, we have a trade in bottom.
Oh, Mikyx draining. It's actually that ward that made KaKAO, made Trashy stay. Because when Misfits invade with their bottom lane, what Splyce think is, oh, these guys are securing the cross-map blue buff. I'm fine taking wolves as an extra camp. And then suddenly this jungle is here. So that ward actually gave KaKAO an opportunity to gank Trashy in his own jungle.
See where the play is going to come out. Kobbe taking a lot of damage. Flash over the wall. Flash over the wall from IgNar.
Well, IgNar's stuck now, but so is Mikyx. That's LeBlanc level 4.
Chain connects. Flash forward. Ooh, first blood, PoE!
Why does that still kill him? It's not supposed to kill.
Oh, no.
I hate LeBlanc.
Exhaust goes down. Trashy trying to get something back.
Oh, the shields!
LeBlanc too. No! Picks! Oh, he helped so much! KaKAO getting the kill back, moving in onto Kobbe. Leaves forward. He's not done. Bola
has no flash.
Stun. Sencux in trouble. PowerOfEvil just taking his sweet time on this one.
Picks helping out.
Where are the cooldowns at?
So that's a barrier, by the way. He can bait the dive.
But this is the early game that Misfits needed. The fact that they get so many kills. I love the way in which PowerOfEvil played that. The fact that he expected the flash away from the chain, so he flashed in advance so that the chain would stay hooked, and it procs the passive too. So the moment you land that first chain, his passive starts channeling, so you always guarantee your passive to hit. So keep your eyes on PowerOfEvil here. He's going to dash over the wall, he's going to land the chain onto Mikyx, and you can see the passive channeling up. Add the Q on top of that, more than enough damage to get the kill.
And the anticipation flash. He knows if that guy flashes out, he breaks the chain, but he just flashes to stick with him.
Look at IgNar here. Exhaust. Ah, you thought you had me. Psych. And then the next Q, the next Shuriken. He's going to sidestep QE as well. Well, sidestep it with his face. And then Sama catches the Shuriken. It's so close. And this is a tilter for Splyce.
Has to be frustrating to dominate the series so confidently in the first 2 games. To have what was a close early game in the third, and now to just be dominated in the first couple of minutes. absolutely brutal.
Look at all the swords, boys. So many have been picked up after this first teamfight win, but now Splyce, they're going in the mid.
PowerOfEvil has to be safe. CC coming in. Chain CC, that's perfect! PowerOfEvil, where's the path to escape? There isn't one, and Trashy gets a kill back.
Yeah, this is episode 2, Revenge on the bot lane. You roam on my lane, well, I'm gonna mess your stuff up.
There you go. You think you're a good level 4 roaming champion?
Yeah. I too can do that, and this actually swings the game the entirely opposite direction, because now Syndra's gonna snowball with a frozen lane in the mid lane. This is so big for Splyce.
So you hate LeBlanc, but I hate Fiddlesticks, man. Those silences and fears are super obnoxious to deal with as a mid laner. He tried to dodge so many things, and then to add insult to injury, Trashy comes in there as well. Good gank from Splyce, but very difficult to avoid.
Yeah, Sencux just denied a full wave with that freeze. Now he's stacking it up for the slow push, which means he can push in on a 6 and actually duel PowerOfEvil. We have to start stacking experience here to see which mid laner is ahead.
Keep our eyes on it. Right now, Sencux just getting level 6, PowerOfEvil about 3/4 of the way there. For now. I mean, very, very explosive early game. 7 minutes, we've already seen 3 kills.
Look, you can see the mid lane has already been pushed in. River control in favor of Splyce. That Shen is their target.
Oh, that is so beautifully played, because they had a freeze. They could have denied LeBlanc, but they were, you know what? Once she arrives, you're going to slow push it in her face. And now Wunder setting up the dive on Alphari. The zone is already down, which means Alphari has no more defense except flash.
Step, double taunt. Maybe looking to get something going here. Does get taken down. Reset on the tower aggro as Wunder leaps to safety, and they're all good.
But now Kobbe needs to run, or Misfits put their eyes on the mid lane turret.
It looks like the Misfits, they're trying to get the push down, and the great thing about that play from Splyce was that Alphari, he saw the play far too late. He didn't expect the roam up top. Noticed that he was on the top side of his tower rather than the bottom side, which meant that he had no room to escape either. The best he could do was just clear out the minion wave. Fortunately for Misfits, though, after all that early action down in the bottom lane, they can trade towers in the bottom half of the map.
And look at the massive CS lead, not just the towers in favor of Misfits. 20 CS up for Hans Sama. He is performing this game. But Sencux has to be careful.
Pops the barrier there as well, so good trade from PowerOfEvil. And the pressure maintains on the bottom.
Pressure definitely maintains. Fiddlesticks waiting for level 6 before we can answer anything. The same CS differential that we see in the bottom lane is present on Wunder versus Shen, but they are now under siege. Trashy will have to repel out of this chain somehow.
Chain connected. CC still lands when he's suspended. Doesn't mean much of anything. Wunder gonna get taken down here. Misfits looking to get something back. They do find it. Building themselves up. Nice goal lead at this point in the game. 1K in their favor.
Now, Misfits had the opportunity to kill Trashy, but they actually decided to go on to Wunder instead. The main point of this is because look at the difference in farm and experience between the two top laners. By shutting Wunder off the map, by taking him down, you're now actually giving a little bit more room for Alphari to catch up. He can soak up this minion wave down the bottom, and you can have Hans Sama move up to the top and start slowly pushing that wave in, so that the gap between the two top laners can slowly start to close.
Yeah. The next Flash Q and Flash QE from Syndra is honestly going to decide whether Splyce can crawl out of this deficit here early on. Misfits, what a phenomenal performance they had early on, really leveraging the roam ability of this LeBlanc. And KaKAO and this Rengar is definitely coming into his own here. Struggled the first 2 games, but honestly much better in game 3 and 4.
Definitely cleaning up the performance thus far, and it was Splyce who needed to find a successful early game. And they did find the 3-man dive on the top side, but Misfits, they've been fighting back with some very close executions on the bottom side of the map, and it's all working out for them now.
So much farm being funneled into Wunder here. Splyce bot lane again. You could play on the bottom side here where you have Wunder join Kennen and Fiddlesticks, but instead they swap it up to the top lane for Renekton to soak, then push out the lane, and Kobbe is... he's like the anti-Reckless right now. He's Kennen on the sideline, he's getting no farm.
And it's rough too, because you can't... you want to be that early game lead. You want to find those early duels and that early power, because this is not the AP Kennen. This is not the late game Zanya's ult to win a team fight. It just gets harder from here.
Now if you're Misfits, something that we've been saying throughout this series is that you can always tell what the next objective is based on the vision that you have. And after that play on top side with Alphari, KaKAO, and PowerOfEvil, look at these 3 deep wards that they've gotten around Splyce's jungle. That top tier 1 is what Misfits have their eyes on. They've already sent their bottom lane up towards it. You can see PowerOfEvil also pushing in the mid lane, and KaKAO, he's on his way topside.
Yeah, Wunder is trying to put as much pressure bottom lane if Alphari disappears with the Stand United or teleport, that he can at least trade the turret. The difference will be whether Misfits can actually find some kills and make it a preferential trade.
Good spot to be. Now Wunder, the coal investment will pay off when he finds the opportunity to back. Sizable amount of gold overall.
It's also a very long lane for him to be in if you're Wunder. So he has to be scared of Rengar and Shen.
And that, of course, while we have been critical of the Shen, is the strength of the Rengar that we talk about. You cannot safely assume you've got the 1-3-1 advantage when you're pushing against that Rengar.
Losing his mid lane turret is actually hurting Splyce a lot because they can never push out mid far enough for anybody to play actually aggressively on the side lanes. Misfits are slowly kind of squeezing the life out of the Splyce team.
We said this game would be decided in the early game, and right now it's looking decidedly in the favor of Misfits, but Splyce, I mean, are they out of this one already?
Not entirely, because they still have a lot of great pick potential, and like the early game isn't quite over yet. The deficit isn't so big that Splyce still can't find themselves an early game lead. They managed to set up a really good dive on the top side. It was just a matter of what they lost in return. And Misfits, I feel that throughout this series, have been progressively getting better at answering the plays that Splyce have been trying to make. Now the question is, the onus is on Splyce to try and force a play, because Misfits, they can just keep playing passively and slowly and they'll eventually outscore.
But they still have double CC lane in top, you know. Kobbe and Mikyx can make up for any goal deficit with just the right time spells, you know. Silence into Terrify into Stun Lock is a dead target. There's Teleport, there's Wunder, but honestly, disgustingly strong. Ooh, Trashy. Spotted by a ward here. He needs to read that immediately and just go for the siege. Can't waste time going for a gank here. That is going to cost him a full minute if he doesn't get that off.
Opting instead to back now, finally coming in for the siege, just looking to pressure out the tower. Spiderlings will buy a little bit of time. We have to keep our eyes on the top side instead. What will Misfits get in return? Will it just be the tower trade? Because Splyce definitely going to take this one down. The
respect from Kobbe and Mikyx as well, immediately disengaging, knowing that the play is coming through. But Splyce, they're continuing to push up bottom lane. I wonder whether or not Power will actually make this rotation down bot too.
Yeah, KaKAO hasn't shown yet, so I think it's actually going to be rotation from bot to mid if they want to. Go 5-man for this mid lane turret, because KaKAO never showed. The top lane turret was so slow that that IgNar and Hansama took way too much time, and now we're getting chip damage here.
We've been from PoE, a lot of damage onto Sencux, with just small advantages going in the favor of Splyce for now. Gold still in the favor of Misfits, but Splyce definitely making moves to come back. Definitely playing proactive thus far.
And while all this tower taking and map play is really exciting, we've got a Gunblade LeBlanc.
Yep.
That's always fun. The main reason as to why people get it is because the active that you have, the slow and the extra damage that it does, along with the extra damage that you get from the active really does help LeBlanc too, and it helps her move off into a side lane too. It makes her a much stronger duelist, which Misfits for the time being are currently planning on doing.
Yep.
Now the pressure continues to mount. Wunder not really able to fight Alphari too effectively, but he can continue to fight the creep wave, continue to press through that one in, and Shen really no tools to deal with it.
Now that he's got the Ninja Tabi, that's actually a much better matchup for Alphari. Given that the main power of Wunder is during the early game, once Alphari can get his first back and pick up both the boots and the armor, that's where things really start to swing. Not in his favor, because he can't match the clear, but he can at the very least hold his own.
Moving forward, we're at the point in the game where things have kind of stalled out. Neither team has a clear opening or an opportunity. They're both looking for the setup, looking for the vision, and for now, the vision for Splyce is on the bottom side of the map.
It's good to follow the supports then, in these, because they usually should group up with the jungle and play some wards here. Mikyx over one wall, over a second. These are always the best ward spots. If you wonder why they're not placing them for maximum efficiency, it is probably to avoid sweeps and good control ward spots and still spot your opponents in places where they do not expect to be seen. That's why it's often very important to go into these like nooks and crannies. Because these guys only need to see a player once to extrapolate where he may be right after.
Kind of playing the mind games with vision. Not wanting to get cleared out, hoping that maybe a cheeky ward, maybe not tend to tell you as much, but will stay a little bit longer.
Might be looking to dive Shen here. Look at Mikyx. And he's backing up. This is a good trade. A faster play here from the Misfits. They're really always moving up this Shen lane, because you never want to do the opposite, because then Shen can join and make it a 5v4 with a shield on a dive here. I wonder he feels safe that he can always get out with double E, and he's actually going in aggressively to stall the wave.
And exhaust. Here comes the Shen. Scout of the week, not going to connect Alphari. Maybe looking for a little bit more.
I push top lane if you're Splyce, go for the inhib turret, I would say.
Wunder waiting. Hansama getting one back. KaKAO leaping forward. Gunblade comes out. No one going to drop.
There's 5 members of Misfits in the bottom lane. That inhib turret could have been just taken down easily by the Splyce lane, because Wunder bought so much time combined with the Syndra wave clear. think this is a huge opportunity missed, and Misfits obviously with the accuracy again from Hansama finding a kill.
I feel like that the whole play from Splyce was very strong because bear in mind as well, there was a big window for PowerOfEvil to just keep pushing down mid. Sencux, he'd roamed down bottom to help Wunder defend that tower, which meant that PowerOfEvil, he could have just kept sieging onto that tier 2, especially with the amount of time spent there. That could have been a big window for Misfits to start pushing onto that objective, but instead all 5 members get dragged down. But Splyce, they don't fully take advantage of the window. They can still be happy though because they traded tower for none.
Still, Misfits holding on to the lead. Things still looking good for them overall. Get the Cloud Drake as well, but not able to break down the tier 2 tower. Just the kill going over to them in the end. Very back and forth, very high risk plays. Kind of gambling on this tier 2 that could have turned into an inhibitor, that could have turned into more.
Hansama on average, 2 CS behind at 50 minutes. Hansama right now, 47 CS in the lead. That's gonna, I think his average might tip over slightly. It's one of them games.
I mean, this is...
That's actually, this is a good case why when you calculate stats, there are some like statistical breakdowns where you remove the two farthest outliers to get an accurate depiction on what a player on average looks like.
It's also the danger of averages, right?
Yeah.
Some games he gets 40 lead, some cases 40 down. Look, he has a 0 CST.
Yeah.
It's actually, now that you mentioned that, Sencux is one of the big proponents of that, where he actually looks like he goes kind of a little bit behind, fairly even, but he actually has really extreme games where he either does really, really well or he does really, really badly.
It's also the exact case for PowerOfEvil, because coming to the series, we looked at it. When PowerOfEvil laned versus Perks, he was on average down 14 CS. When he laned versus Febiven, he was on average down 17 CS at 10 minutes. Well, 16.5 technically. Versus Exile, he was down -3. But on average, he's not doing as poorly, which means he picks up a lot of CS against the weaker laners, which is why we had him pegged as a potential influencer in this game, because Sencux offers up a lot of pressure to in lane. But PowerOfEvil has been struggling against the pristine mid laners in Europe, but he should be able to do better against Sencux, and he's proving it in this game with LeBlanc.
And the question always is, what shade of Sencux are we going to see as a swingy player? He had some fantastic games on the world stage, some excellent KaKAO play, but during the regular season, it feels like he's never quite the impactful member that his team needs.
Yeah. The start of the season was a couple of shades of gray screen.
Well, Misfits maybe not able to take any greater leads here, but are going to be able to find the Rift Herald buff.
I love it how people call him Herald. Twitch chat, whenever he dies, it's like, Herald, no. Poor guy. Poor Herald, man. Imagine if you're just like a Cyclops who already gets like taken off the map at 20 minutes and people just come and kill you. Like you've worked an entire shift, it's 18 minutes 30 in the game, you're like, alright guys, 2 more minutes.
Then I can go home and I can go home.
And then you get stabbed in the eye repeatedly and then they take your buff.
Or eaten by a giant worm, right? Yep. So life's a little grim. Could be grim for Alphari as well, though. He's got the fancy footwork on, buying a bit of time here, taking some flash over the wall. Not a fast enough reaction coming in from Trashy. Is going to walk out safely.
Ooh, top lane though. Look at it. Sencux is lost on the map here.
PowerOfEvil is also moving down to try and help his top laner out with the main pressure advantage going in the favor. The question is, can Mikyx try and stop them?
Oh, he's going to try. Here comes the Crow Storm over the wall. The CC coming in. IgNar under the tower as well. That is brutal with the wild growth keeping him up. No, KaKAO out of nowhere on a killing spree.
The KaKAO turns into a KaKAO as KaKAO picks up a kill onto Mikyx, and they will not lose that tier 2 down in the bottom, but they still have 4 members strong in the top, and they're looking to get an advantage for Misfits.
And an absurd display of tongue twistery. Misfits definitely take an advantage here in the top side of the map.
Good to see, but they're going to back off now. They don't want to risk pushing for anything more. Can't afford another dive, and Hansama out of mana, but we can see again the engage from Splyce.
Would have the drain damage been enough on IgNar? Because I think Mikyx goes for the drain on Hansama. Let's see, does IgNar go low enough? Nope, I don't think the drain would have mattered. Maybe at the very end, he still drops, so it's a 1-for-1 essentially, so it's not as bad as we said it was, and there's still that chip damage on the bottom lane. Wunder.
Oh, didn't even see this play from Power, interrupting onto Wunder. PowerOfEvil actually played that very well. Stops the tower going down in the bottom lane as well. But no towers end up going down overall. Just a couple of kills going in the favor of Misfits. They maintain control over the gold lead, and with the Dragon spawning in about 1 minute and 20 seconds, I'm expecting to start seeing a shift. Either Misfits hard invest into that tier 2 in the top tower and they concede the Drake, or they start moving the bottom lane down back towards the bottom side to look to try and fight over this next objective.
I feel if we make one of those graphics for CS at 15 for Hansama, I want to see a CS at 20 for Wunder. You know, average versus current game, because it's also pretty disgusting.
But what has this lead really transitioned into? It's a ton of
gold!
I mean, yes, I understand that it's money, Krepo, thank you. 0, 2, and 1, though. I mean, yeah, he's been able to push in. He's been able to be a pressure point, but still the dives are escaped from. Still, Shen can mitigate the vast majority of that damage when he has the Spirit's Refuge up.
Yeah, we'll see in the trades that are happening right now if Alphari takes any damage or if he allows Renekton to chip on the turret. It's really important that Splyce find out where KaKAO is. If they know where KaKAO is, then Wunder can go for the double dash ulti, kill turret, and reset the play. If he doesn't, he has to be careful.
Has to be safe. But for now, Misfits very focused on just clearing out the vision, gaining control of this area of the map. But now, Alphari, TP up and available, Stand United up and available as well, and Wunder still lagging behind when it comes to global cooldowns. Cannot have the same reliable impact here, but may just be able to break this tier 2 tower.
Ooh, Misfits hesitant.
Yeah.
Almost starting Nasher there.
This is something that we've seen a lot from Misfits throughout the regular season. A little bit slow when it comes to pulling the trigger, and now, even though they have the Shen ultimate,
they're doing
an advantage over Splyce. They're not forcing anything right now, but here we go. The ban has been started.
Blue Trinket has been popped as well, currently disabled. It is slow to do 3-man Nasher. Teleport is almost up on Wunder. Splyce, get them off.
Pulling back. They don't have the Callisto this time, not the safety, but KaKAO leaping forward. Really going for Mikyx. Has been sped up. Taking his time.
You can't see the Rengar, but you can always see which target he is closest to. That's why those eyes pop up. It took me a disgustingly large amount of games to figure that one out.
Oh, Wunder potentially the man. Leaping in, Shen coming in on the way too, but there's nowhere for Wunder to go. The bushes making it all too easy for KaKAO to chase. Alphari doesn't have flash available. Whimsy goes in, taunt connects, looking for a little bit more. Now locked in place as well. Wunder set to fall. Nope. So far making it out, making it alive okay. A little bit more health. Polymorph does drop in the end.
And Misfits, they pick up a kill onto Wunder, relieving all that pressure in the bot side of the map. But look at the movements from Splyce. Immediately, they're sending a lot of members topside. Question is, I don't know if they can get at these objectives as Misfits. They pick up a dragon.
Yeah, there's nothing to take. 2 turrets have been down. Nasher is too hard to take here. The map gets switched upside down, and Splyce, instead of disengaging in time, still find Wunder lingering in the jungle. That is a communication error. Honestly, he was trying to help his team against a Rengar jumping on him, and he became the prey.
And we look at it too, all those resources that we talked about funneled into this Renekton, and so when he goes down, there's just no way you can contest anything. Rough spot for them to be, but keep in mind the gold's still pretty close. 1,000 difference. Misfits making up the advantage with those dragons, but not a change.
And we're always talking about how Renekton falls off and Renekton is an early game champion. When this guy gets in a team fight, pops R, double dash QW, LeBlanc or Varus just disappear. It's like a nice little magic trick. So PowerOfEvil will definitely need to have cleanse on point.
Wunder turns them into the boots.
Yep. Wunder CS at 20, average is 180 to 200, but like CSD though, that's what.
Yeah, okay. I thought for a second that was CSD. I was like, what?
What? His average CSD is 200?
Yeah, you thought Flame was good? Welcome to the Wunder horizon.
We talk about double rainbow, double horizon.
Now, however, we get to get into the rhythm of looking to secure this Baron. Splyce holding on to that control ward. Mikyx waiting over the wall, ready to contest that one, and Splyce just looking to push in mid.
Mikyx wants to be Peekaboo World Champion. Hiding around the corner on Fiddlesticks, but nobody wants to be his friend.
The thing is for Misfits, it's actually very difficult for them to try and force a lot of these plays because of the relentless pressure that Wunder is applying on this side lane. Alphari just cannot push the lane out far enough for them to try and make a proactive play either around the Baron, look for a pick, because every time they do, Wunder is going to get onto a tower. Wunder is going to punish Misfits in some way.
Mikyx. The wait, mate. Trashy, where are you going?
Trashy, help!
Save your teammate. Going forward, Drain comes out, Shen comes out as well. Splyce, are you going to take this fight or are you going to run? You may not have a choice. In goes the engage. Trashy going to get caught up. Trashy getting taken down. There goes the jungler. They're looking for a little bit more. Arrow connects. Mikyx gets forward. Knocked up. Not going to be enough. Alphari's on the front lines. Looking to keep the fight going. Pulling back now. Sencux getting blows back, but it's not enough.
And this is why you look both left and right before you cross here. Mikyx face checking brushes to set up the play, and Trashy's just walking away, not looking in his rearview mirror. It's a big mistake here from Splyce, but what a beautiful opening from KaKAO. So well timed.
Now Misfits move towards the Baron. Bear in mind that Kobbe, he still has his ulti. Sencux also has his ulti, and the ulti is up available for Wunder as well. So Splyce, they can still answer this Baron.
Trying to catch Sencux, flash in from Kobbe. He does a lot of damage, but he doesn't have the tanky stats to survive if he keeps moving forward. But Wunder is here. Where is it? Where is the double dash, the proc, the damage? Nothing going to happen for Wunder. The chain CC is too much. He gets taken down.
That's very likely going to be a Baron for Misfits as well. 2 members of Splyce with 30-second death timers. This could very well be a massive gain for Misfits.
But they bought enough time for Trashy to come back. Can he steal it? Can he get something out of the exchange? It's only 6k health. They pop IgNar over the wall from Mikyx. The Close Storm continues to bounce. He's trapped in the pit. What can Mikyx do to
Drain Mikyx! No. Drain in Asher!
PowerOfEvil going forward. Auto attack! He just did it to cancel the drain power! Oh, that was smart.
Yeah, they know he has no flash available, but somebody needs to hit him once to get the kill credit.
Yep.
Cheeky left that from PoE.
That's a feels bad man right there.
It's just leap in. Hey, you want to stop that drain real quick? Cool.
So this is where everything all started. Mikyx.
It's like, help, team. Hello, Cocoon, maybe.
Yep. The Shen ult comes through as well. Misfits rather tried to force the fight, and with Trashy being on the backline, not really having enough support, Misfits feel strong enough to just continue the chase, and that's where we start to see the Baron dance happen between the two teams.
Yeah, but nothing is done just yet. Baron's still alive. Splyce live to fight another day. Wunder has yet to enter a fight at all, really. He's been getting caught quite a bit on this Renekton.
But his farm is good, Krepo. He played to the cull.
But he has gold, Krepo. Not enough, unfortunately, for him at this stage. Alphari just continuing to take this one up. Splyce maybe a little too content. They don't think the Baron's been started quite yet, but KaKAO goes over the wall. Baron getting lower and lower. No member of Splyce here to contest yet. 2k dropping down. Baron just going to fall over to the side of Misfits. Massive misstep from the side of Splyce.
I mean, I think they definitely knew it was going on. They just realized we can't face check. We don't have the strength right there to go in, because they need people to walk at them and get the chain CC here.
And now we have the 1-3-1 that's likely to come out from Misfits. You can send PowerOfEvil off onto a side lane. You could put him into the Wunder matchup, given the lack of magic resistance onto Wunder as well. And then you just move Alphari off to the other side, and you have plenty of wave clear with Handsama in the mid. You just need to start playing all 3 lanes, which Splyce at this point in the game cannot match.
Misfits clearing out the mid wave. Their bottom lane is now moving into the top side. Eyes set on that tier 2 tower, and Splyce, they wasted a little bit too much time in the mid lane trying to decide what to do next, so it should be an easy take coming in here from Misfits.
And we're seeing so many isolated deaths here. In the previous games, Splyce had, or in the third game rather, Splyce had 7 isolated deaths compared to just the 2 that they had racked up in game 1 and 2. It's basically where you die alone. Doesn't matter how many opponents are killing you, but you're on your own. And I think we're definitely adding a few more this game, because Wunder has been caught out alone so often.
PowerOfEvil ensuring that the Shen can't arrive in, and Sencux just popped. Moving forward, KaKAO running forward, looking for more, doesn't even need it. Team just gonna set their sights on the tower.
Yeah, Misfits is just hurting the cattle, getting the lone sheep that's straddles away from the pack, and then brutally slaughters it for some delicious lamb.
We're all about the meat today. Mikyx all about the engage. Isn't going to be able to get too much. So he is taken down instantly. Splyce desperate to find a fight back. But Redemption not coming in fast enough. Wunder looking to make an impact on the backside, but they're dropping members left and right. They have to respect PowerOfEvil. He is untouched. Alphari is fearless, but KaKAO gets Wunder up into the tower. Wunder looking to bring it back for the team. Power still alive. Power still healthy. What can he get? Polymorph up. CC not going to land, and Wunder just buying time overall. Alphari, the man in trouble, playing ring around the rosy with the Shen, and Wunder can't afford to get anything else. But Sencux is now up. Sencux is coming back, but it's too little too late for the side of Splyce.
Yeah, handful of kills, 2 turrets. Splyce say, or Misfits say rather, see you in a while, Crocodile. Even though technically he's an alligator. They leave.
See you later, alligator.
Yeah.
I believe is the phrase you're looking for, but that is the correct terminology. As we can see, this whole initiation started off with Sencux trying to get a pick onto PowerOfEvil, and he even uses his flash, and I think that was the big mistake here.
Because they're talking about PoE, because he builds like Zhonya's every second game. If this guy can build defensively, he will, and it actually bears fruits.
There's also a Shen on the game. There's also a KaKAO who you have no vision of. Like, the ability to get the collapse onto a no-flash Syndra, it's just, you're asking for trouble.
And it's actually quite the peculiar build that PowerOfEvil is running here. Zhonya's Lichbane.
Gunblade.
Gunblade, yep.
The ultimate split push build, and we're yet to see him split push.
The ultimate anti-Syndra build, I think you mean.
Yeah, in this fight, it's so easy. I love that splash stun from Wunder, by the way, in this fight. He's really aware now in his surroundings because he went double dash kill on Hansama, then flashed. IgNar is actually overextended here. Could be a big moment.
Taken down. Wunder continuing the chase on the KaKAO. Won't get anything else, just a small pick. It will mean the rest of the Baron buff from Misfits not going to be too relevant.
I'm not entirely sure how that series of events occurred, because that will kill the momentum a lot for Misfits. They had such a great push on mids. They exposed that inhibitor. Now, after trying to move into a half of the jungle where they didn't really have much control of, they didn't have the push up top. Bottom lane was still fairly pushed out for them, and then they end up just walking into a couple of balls.
Yeah, they likely pushed mid and then went for the deep vision. And as they put a ward in like the first push and then the wolves, they came around the corner, and that's usually where Splyce were lurking. See control ward set up there as well, trying to like prevent Misfits from establishing deep vision. That's what you have to do, play defensive.
And this is such a good look for Misfits after going down 2-0 to bring it back to be on the verge of 2-2, tying up the series. We thought Splyce were going to be the team that out-team played, the team that had been together for longer, but now in this series when the pressure is on, it's Misfits who are playing together, who are out-maneuvering Splyce.
I feel like Splyce, invested very heavily onto getting an early game advantage, right? This is something that we've seen a lot from them throughout this series where they have dominated Misfits, but now that the nerves are gone and PowerOfEvil is on a champion where he's free to roam around and play a style that suits him, Splyce didn't seem to be expecting that. Like a level 4 bot lane move from PowerOfEvil on LeBlanc, that sort of caught Splyce completely unaware.
Yeah, but it's still so peculiar, this PowerOfEvil guy. His builds are always, like he goes to the Abyssal into Zhonya's Ahri build.
Yes.
He now builds, he's playing LeBlanc with a lead, he's snowballing, he gets a Gunblade early, then he goes Merc Threads Zhonya's, and then he finishes it up with like a Lich Bane. Like, I'm just...
He's the Genja of our time. In a few months' time, people will be telling you, I knew it, it was his build all along.
We're going to have 3 more patches. Those items will be completely different.
Yep, the meta will change entirely, but hey, PowerOfEvil would be right.
Exactly, the Time Lord.
No, I don't have my judgment out just yet, because you obviously need to run the numbers and see why he's doing it, but it's just peculiar, because it's not something when you glance down, it's like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, I mean, the Zhonya's, I think, makes sense if you want to go up against Wunder in a side lane later on, and I think that it also makes sense to deal with both the Kennen ultimate as well as the Syndra ultimate. It buys time for the Shen ultimate to come in too, if you're relying on that to start and engage, but then to transition that into a Lich Bane, a lot of question marks.
Well, now moving forward, KaKAO has to be safe here. A lot of potential CC going in, but PowerOfEvil is there to back him up. For now, Misfits are going to back out unscathed. No major objectives on the map quite yet, but we are a minute away from that Baron.
Yeah, Sidestone's empty for IgNar, so he should definitely get a base up ASAP. Yeah, he pops the scrying plant, finds a ward into the enemy jungle, so he now has an idea of what he's facing once he walks back there. Splyce are all in their base. It's now up to IgNar to pair up with either KaKAO or maybe even just Alphari and get the deep vision in. And there's full trackers on the side of KaKAO as well now. That is their objective. Let's check control wards. Only 2. Well, technically 4, but 2 unique ones in the Misfits inventory, so they definitely need to rely on the few ones that are already present.
When you got to think, too, as they start to choke Splyce out of vision, it only gets scarier and scarier to face check that brush. The engage from Varus, the sheer damage that can come out of KaKAO or PowerOfEvil.
One of the issues that Misfits are going to have to deal with as well is ideally they would like to send PowerOfEvil off onto a side, but he's running the cleanse too, which means that conventionally PowerOfEvil would run the TP to be able to join fights later on into the game. He's not going to have that freedom, so he's forced to stick with this team a lot more than he normally would.
Splyce.
4v4, I don't know if Misfits will necessarily win.
Yeah, Splyce here, they're definitely forcing a play. Look at how they're grouped here. They're relinquishing any pressure on side lane. They went all in on this play, and they're going to play the losing hand.
They're all split up now. KaKAO running forward. Shen ult coming in. Kobbe hoping to mitigate something. In goes Mikyx, but there's no one else around him. He's just going to try to get IgNar. Out comes the redemption. Not going to be enough. KaKAO is buying time for the rest of the team. Wunder is still alive, healing up as much as he can with the Cold Meek, but he's now running for his life. PowerOfEvil more than happy to pick that one up, and Mickey all alone in the pit. We've seen this one before, but this time around he's got the flash, and KaKAO, maybe the man who's overstayed his welcome, hits the blast cone, wants to make it to safety, gets the cleanse out on that Rengar empowered battle roar. Not going to be enough though. Jungler will go down. Splyce in the end, making it the 1-for-1.
Originally, KaKAO was holding off 3 members by himself, and you'd think off the back of that, Misfits could translate it into a Baron, but it is your jungler that ends up going down, which means that objective is no longer as free as it could have been.
Yeah, but with pristine vision control, they could still attempt to start it because there's nobody from Misfits close here, from Splyce rather. It would be a very gutsy call, so they're just going to base and reset here. But a good hold, considering that Splyce was this far down. I think it was the only play they could make. Let's watch it again. Here's where Trashy gets split up. Just follow Wunder and the work he's doing in the front line. And just appreciate how long it takes to kill this Rengar from KaKAO. PowerOfEvil going in and out, but he's not really providing the burst damage that you would need with his ultra defensive build.
And also the fact that Wunder's trying to do a very similar thing, but he doesn't have the GA, so he ends up going down much sooner. But then at this point, Misfits, they're trying so hard to save their jungler that there's no real room for them to go anywhere else.
That's a sexy play from Kobbe though. He goes into Lightning Rush and he stops right at the edge of the blast cone so he doesn't get knocked back. Once it's popped, he goes in and then uses the heal to close the gap. That is very well played from Kobbe on this Kennen.
It does make up for the fact that just a second ago he did miss the flash over the wall to chase down the Rengar, so very back and forth play for Kobbe. Moments of brilliance, moments of weakness as well.
Yeah, I missed that one.
We were pointing at each other and I was like, oh, that's what you're going to talk about. And I was like, oh no. Very different angle.
See, I see the positives in people, Drakos.
I appreciate that, Krepo. The audience appreciates that. The positive is important here. The positive for Misfits, of course, massive lead, things looking good. Splyce, because of the 2-game lead they found earlier, will get another chance here if they take it to the Game 5. Maybe a turnaround, but things are looking grim.
So Elder Dragon is up and available. That would greatly benefit Misfits as well. Splyce not looking to try and make that trade because they realize that if they conceded Baron, then they'd have to deal with the 1-3-1 again. Misfits just deciding to start this one off. I think this is more of a bait rather than a commit.
There's the fake out. They were just pretending. Now there's a double flank here. LeBlanc Shen.
Moving forward. Sencux going to take it down before the fight can even start. Alphari gets the final auto down. No one going to be able to take him but KaKAO. Suddenly in the backline, Kobbe doing his best to hold on. PowerOfEvil weaving in and out of the fight. KaKAO finally going to drop. Mikyx doing what he can, terrifying the opposition. They're buying time, but Wunder is down. Misfits still strong, still running in. Only one man weaker.
Yeah, but it's an instance where the junglers that Trashy sidestep will provide or prove to be crucial rather, because now Splyce could potentially contest the Nashor if Trashy lives.
Forward, into the air, Trashy gonna get taken down. Spirit's Refuge buying a little bit of time. Kobbe not gonna be in danger here. Inhibitor going to drop in the favor of Misfits.
Bear in mind though that the teleport is still available for Wunder, so if Misfits start up for this Baron, there is still plenty of members of Splyce that can look to contest.
Yeah, and the jungler's dead again, so definitely gonna be a 50-50 in the true sense of the word.
Now moving in, though. Terrifying spot to be, but it looks like they will start it up.
They're going for it.
Yep.
Oh, but look at this. They've just said, nope, we're not going to gamble it. We're just going to try and trade it for an Elder Dragon. They can take it very quickly with the Kennen, and Mikyx just tanking that one up. I wonder if IgNar can actually run interference.
Well, PowerOfEvil and Hansama may just potentially be able to take them down if he can buy enough time.
Quickly is it's up for debate.
Okay, not as quickly as I thought. I thought Kennen was like, you know, he's got high attack speed, does a lot of damage. Okay, maybe not against Elder Dragon.
Yeah, it takes a while. Definitely one of the maybe faster champions. Like a Sion would take a little bit longer.
Singed, maybe. Vedius.
Yeah, look at it. Double dash, flank, chain up to Kobbe as well, and hitting Sencux. This is really well played by PowerOfEvil because he drops off Alphari in the perfect spot, and then it's enough. Like if Sencux falls early, Splyce have nothing left. This is some good orb walking here, or stutter stepping, call it what you want from Kobbe, but it's just simply not enough.
Now moving in, you can see in that picture that they have started the Elder Dragon. They are going to take it. That is 180 bonus damage, and it's more than enough for PoE as he goes godlike here. Misfits now moving in. They're looking for the kill.
Misfits pick themselves up the Baron, the Elder Dragon, and likely Game 4 of this best-of-5 series. It looks like that we may very well be going all the way as Misfits are heading into the base of Splyce.
And definitely queuing up Silver Scrapes here. Again, a spot for Hamburg is on the line. Semi-finals, something both these teams want. Splyce so badly want to repeat and improve the run they had in summer 2016. Misfits, they want to be a world's playing team in a year. That is the goal, that is the progression from their org. Playoffs in spring is just a stepping ground, but it would be so satisfying for the team and such a great morale boost if they could actually make it to Hamburg.
And they said they wanted to be top 4. They said they'd be disappointed with anything less, and they're starting to pave the road there. And maybe this win and one more after it before Misfits can find themselves there, find themselves in Hamburg. But for now, Splyce holding on.
Splyce, the problem with their composition is at this point in the game, it is very difficult to win out on a full 5v5, but if they are able to land that single CC, that single pick onto that key target, there's the possibility, if they can get through the Shen ult, if they can get through the Lulu ult, if they can get through all the shield.
QSS on the Varus, cleanse on the LeBlanc.
It's a big if.
And then IgNar has a Mikyx. That is the problem.
So like a really, really big if.
Yeah. If all that happens.
I don't think their CC is on a low enough cooldown, Vedius, that they can get through all of those before at least one of them is back up.
The bright side, Drakos, the bright side.
There's a chance.
There is a chance.
And not the rapper, an actual chance.
It's an actual chance.
Chance is a rapper?
Oh. Well, one day we'll teach you, Vedius. It's just,
got it.
Just accept for now. The siege continues. Mikyx in trouble. May just get popped right here. Wunder doing what he can to peel for his team. Gets a bit aggressive there, but the tower is going to fall. The burn damage makes it pretty easy.
There's almost nothing Splyce can do at this point other than roll over. You'll see soon they'll be pushing so far that they will go for an emergency or desperate play here, but not even Wunder can wave clear anymore. Too many Baron creeps piling in here. Offensive play from Mikyx, but it goes wide.
Moving forward, Mikyx gets dropped. That's huge. Maybe looking for a little bit more. Tether moves on. Misfits just looking to close out the game with confidence here. 3 inhibitors down. Now it's just a matter of time before they flood the base. What can Wunder do? What can Sencux do? The remaining members of the team. Kobbe has the flash, the ultimate. Can they make a stand?
The Baron buff has just worn off, so they don't have the Baron powered minions, but Misfits, they don't care.
Ignore flash taunt. That's big. Is going to take down one. Kobbe trying to get something back, but PoE is still alive, dishing out the damage. KaKAO healthy as well, living up to the expectations, moving in, looking for more. Splyce still got members alive, but it just does not matter. They set to take down the game. They're looking for more. Misfits from 2-0 against them to 2-2 and a game 5.
They tie up the series. They take it all the way to a game 5. We are so ready to write them off in the ways that they lost game 1 and 2. All hope looked lost for Misfits, and even at the start of the third game, we did not think they would get to this point. And KaKAO proving the Rengar, it was just a little fumble. 4 games in a row now.
The fact that Misfits allowed Splyce to have Elise, one of Trashy's better performing jungle champions, and they're still able to find that fantastic early game advantage off the back of that LeBlanc pick for PowerOfEvil. Just demonstrates that when Misfits are allowed to play to their strengths, they really can get themselves an early lead.
But still, it was another game where Trashy does the exact same jungle path early on, gets an advantage. He greeted a tiny bit at the Wolves. I think that is one of the key turning points very early in the game, because then he could have put so much pressure on the top side. And then just the fiesta roam in the bot lane where suddenly, like, you're Kobbe, you're in the river, you're like, I'm fine, I have flash. And I was like, wait, LeBlanc's here? Like, why is this going on?
Crazy aggressive. And for the first 30 seconds of that play, we're like, IgNar, what are you doing? IgNar, stop. IgNar, why? And then suddenly, LeBlanc out of nowhere, roaming in. And that, we said PoE would do it, right? We said he was going to be this guy to roam. And we didn't see it all series. I thought maybe it had changed. Maybe it was different. But he's showing up now, and he's making an impact.
I think this has been a very exciting series. We've seen strengths and weaknesses for both teams, and the question is, how will it all culminate? I was a big talker about how I thought Syndra would be the big determining factor, but right now, it seems
it doesn't matter anymore. Syndra, Ahri, like KaKAO, Rengar, it doesn't matter, because look at these faces. Splyce, after game 2, they were so full of life, full of confidence, and they look, like Kobbe looks like he's done. Like, this is the stress of a game 5, and this is why momentum is such a topic that we talk about all the time. They started in full daylight, by the way, when they were sitting there. It was sunshine outside, nice little weather. Now it's dark here in Berlin, and you can definitely see the stress kind of ooze out of the Splyce lineup. And now Yamato needs to dig deep for that husky baritone voice. He needs to instill some confidence in his team.
And you have to think it just... You built a composition that we've seen this team be successful on, Kennen and Fiddlesticks admittedly aside. We've seen the Elise, the Renekton be the cornerstones of Splyce victories so many different games, so many different times. And now it all just fell apart. And
And it fell apart in the bot lane, and that is why Kobbe is so upset, because this was a really tough situation to communicate. Like, where is he? Like, is he close? Can he kill us? Do we get some help? Should we play top side, bot side? These are all these calls that they're discussing. Yamato obviously had access to the comms of Splyce. They need to take this break and restructure themselves.
Yeah. Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. 2 wins apiece. The final game in the series is just minutes away. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for Game 5. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's time.